Welcome to the FI Investors Podcast, helping you achieve financial independence through real estate investing, one episode at a time. We talk about personal finance, mindset, and real estate investing. Whether you're a rookie or looking to scale your portfolio, we're here to provide you with the tactics and actionable steps to achieve your goals. Here are your hosts, Diego Corzo and Ward Mahoney.
Welcome to the FI Investors Podcast. We have another great episode with Dina Onur. She is based out of Boston, and today she's going to be sharing her story on how she bought a property with an owner-occupant loan and how that transitioned into what she's now doing, build to rent or build to sell, depending on what her exit strategy will be in the future. So she's gone from an investor buying homes for resale to now being a developer and building new homes. That transition has become very lucrative for her family, and now she's sharing her story with others. You guys are gonna love her story as she shares how she transitioned in the different stages as a real estate investor, the hustle that she had to put in, and how she's been able to build all the connections as she changed strategies in her investing trajectory. So this is what it's going to be all about. You guys are going to learn a lot. But before we go to Dina, let's talk about the free content that we have just for you at defiinvestors.com. So one of our members, Tiago, he's been working a lot on the calculators, and we've been able to we now have a short-term rental calculator, we have long-term investing calculator, seller finance calculators, short-term rental, mid-term rentals. We have all of that for free 99 on the website. So if you guys want to download these calculators, go to defiinvestors.com and we'll see you there. So without further ado, let's get to Dina. Hello, Dina. How are you? Welcome to the FI Investors Podcast.
Hey, Diego. Thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be on it.
Yes. Finally, I know you've had an amazing trajectory since we met back in 2020. I think we met 2021 at a mastermind event, and you were sharing a lot of your story. You've been investing and everything, and you've recently had some amazing wins. I would love for you to start with where you are today, and then we will work backwards so that we can hear a little bit of your story.
Yes, absolutely. I can definitely share that. I would love to actually share that with people to get them also be more excited and do some cool things and projects as well. So a little bit about me. I'm Dina. I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I am a small business owner. I own a home healthcare company, and I'm a real estate investor as well. So right now, what I'm working on is I'm working on my new development project, which is taking place in Newton, Massachusetts, right on the Charles River. I purchased this property about 2 years ago, and at the time when I was buying it, my plan was to actually buy it for myself and build a single family home. But when I purchased it, I did not pay attention that it was MR1 zoning, which allows you to build 2 units or less. And that's the beauty of it. So I bought it 2 years ago. I realized, oh my God, not only I can build a single family, I can do 2 townhouses side by side. And I'm always looking to maximize the square footage. So this was just an eye opener for me. I was like, oh my God, that's it. I'm not doing a single family. I'm going to do a house hack, new development house hack. And it started with doing a lot of research, figuring out, what does it take to do new build. I've never built anything before. I did a lot of extensive remodels. I mean, it was very extensive to taking everything down to studs and rebuilding it. but I've never like knocked a house down and built a foundation. And it was just like a different animal to me. But it was very exciting because I like challenges and I don't like to repeat what I already have done or I have done multiple times. So for me, it was scary and exciting at the same time. It was just a bigger project. So, yeah.
And quick question for you then. So that property, from what you told me, you bought it because you said a new build house hack, right? Like it first started as a house hack and then you turned into a new build. So when you say house hack, that basically means that you bought it with an owner-occupant loan, right? So it was, what was the down payment on that property when you bought it?
So the property, the cost for the property was 740,000. It was 12,000 square foot lot size, and I put only 5% down, which I believe it was like about 45, maybe $47,000. And the plan was at that time, yes, we're gonna move, we're gonna maybe do an extension, we're gonna make this house bigger, nicer. And 740,000 is very cheap for that area. That area is extremely expensive. And it's very desirable because of the school system, because it's kind of like suburbs of Boston. You can be in Boston in 15 minutes. And my husband works in this area, and that's why we were looking in this area for a while. And when this house came on, we didn't even go to see it. We just bought it without even doing any inspections or going inside. We just knew, okay, this is going to work.
Yeah, my gosh. So then you bought it with the idea that you would extend and then later move in, but then you saw the zoning and then you saw, so now you're building two attached condos or townhomes, or are they detached?
They're attached condos, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Though I call them condos, but it's still considered a two-family. But there is a way to convert them into condos if I needed to or I wanted to.
Of course, because then so you're building technically a duplex, but you can turn it into what they call a condo regime. Basically, you're changing it from just selling it as a duplex to condo, so that you can do A and B.
Yeah, just from the financing standpoint, when the banks look at it, the loan that I currently carry only allows me to have it as the two-family home, not a condo or a duplex or not a condominium. Because condominium is when you can sell the other side, and the bank wants you to keep both of them.
Got it. And through that, tell us a little bit, since now we're talking about the loans and stuff, how did you find the lender to get you the house hack? And was it the same lender that got you the construction loan and anything and everything, just so that the audience here can know what that process is of going from buying an owner-occupant that later you found out that you can demolish that home and turn it into a new build, and that lending.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was buying as a conventional loan, it's pretty easy. There is like a limit. I believe it's like up to $800,000 that you can qualify as a convention, as a like FHA loan. So I was right in that bracket. The house costed 740, and plus I put 5% down. So I was definitely able to take advantage of the owner-occupied loan. And any mortgage broker can help you with that, basically, or any banks. It's not a rocket science to go and get a loan. So I just had my mortgage broker that helps me with my purchases do this loan, and it was with the Chase mortgage. So we bought it with Chase, and he was not focused on new construction build. So I had to do a lot of digging and research to figure out who can help me with that. And I actually did not start. I started working backwards. I was thinking, okay, how much money am I going to need for construction? What is going to be my budget? How much can I qualify for? What can I build? So I had like a lot of questions, because what you want to do and what the bank will allow you to do are kind of like two different animals. You have to do like a big strategy to come up with the plan. What am I going to build? What can I qualify for? And I was looking at the timeline of about 2 years to break the ground because of all the permitting and stuff that I had to do in that town to get me started. So basically, I was working backwards. Also, I was working back. I'm like, okay, in 2 years, what can I qualify for? What is my income looking like? How much am I going to need for the budget? So I kind of had to brainstorm this with a couple of mortgage brokers, and I came up with a plan. This is how my finances has to look like in 2 years. This, I'm not like spending any money if I want to go and get that. So I had a very strict diet plan, financial plan in line to get me to a $2 million construction loan.
Wow.
And yeah, so I found a couple of mortgage brokers that specialize only in the construction loans, and um, couple of them offered me commercial lending, and that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for a primary resident construction loan. That's where you can take advantage of very low interest rate, better terms, less money down. So it all comes down to if you're building 2 units or less, some of the banks will provide you with a primary residence construction loan. And that's what I was going after. I did like a lot of digging, a lot of talking with different banks, like figuring out what programs they have, what is good, what is not so good for me. And the mortgage broker, one of the mortgage brokers, he said, listen, I know you can qualify for this. I know you got your plans, you have your budget. He looked at my portfolio and he said, we can definitely pull the trigger. He went shopping around for me. It took a while to actually figure things out with the banks. And he presented me like two banks and he said, well, both of them are good. Just pick one you want to go to and we'll do the submission. And I highly recommend going through the mortgage broker, not directly to the bank, just because the brokers, they know how to present you to the bank. They've been working with them for a while. They know, they have their contacts. And if you are talking about like larger projects, it makes sense. And if you're not sure like how to go about it, it's good to pay a fee to the mortgage broker. The fee that I paid was only $10,000, which is very small compared to like commercial lending was like $40,000 the mortgage broker was charging me. So I was very happy with services he provided and the bank that he found for me, and he was very reasonable with pricing. And I feel like I just got so fortunate because he is builder and he's a mortgage broker, and it's just like a perfect scenario for someone who knows what they're doing. So it's people that and that's also was a referral from a friend of mine who is a builder to use him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. And it sounds like then you use your connections and you were able to find the loan program that worked for your needs. And you analyze different ones because a lot of people just go with their first one, but it's good that you analyzed, okay, what would it look like if I went the commercial route, especially for you were trying to build, and then just going the owner-occupant route. So that's great.
Oh my God. When we're talking about, not just hundreds, but millions, you have to. It just becomes like when you look at the numbers, it will push you to do more legwork to figure things out because it's expensive. It gets very expensive.
Yeah. So the property, you say you bought it for 740.
Yeah.
Once that's a property that you will demolish or that you've done that already.
I've done that already. Yeah.
Yes. Once it's said and done and the two properties are built, when are they gonna get built and what will be the appraised value of both of them?
Sure. So right now we are in the midst of putting the shingles on the roof. And it's going to be probably another 4 or 5 months for electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and all the finish work. So I kind of estimate maybe January, February will be able to be done, just because we have an additional layer of regulations on this property. We have conservation, we have special permit, like you name it. So additional checks and balances that we have to do with town. So that kind of slows us down as well. So I think about January, February, we should be finished up. And the property, when the bank gave me the loan, they have to do two appraisals. They have to do as is appraisal and a future appraisal. So that's how they kind of look at that's one of the things they look to determine whether this is a good loan or not so good loan. So as his appraisal came in at 1.2 million, and I purchased it for 740. That's like 2 years down the line. From 740 to 1.2, it appreciated. And also, once I'm done with the build, it appraised the future appraisal of, I think, February or March of 2025 looks like $3.75 million.
Wow, 3.75.
Yeah.
So that's basically 3.75. That's like what is that, like 1.6? No, like 1.8, right?
Like
Maybe.
1.5 is going to be my
Yeah.
The value that I was able to make in this project, taking in
Wow.
consideration like 200,000 that I had to put in for the development piece, for the architects, engineers, wetland specialists, you name it. And after like all the closing costs and broker fee and all of that, I am able to make $1.5 million on this project, which is amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you gonna keep it as a rental, or are you gonna sell them?
I've never done like a luxury rentals. I'm going to actually give it a shot. I do hold an Airbnb license on this property, so I may play around with it once we're done to see what makes the most sense.
Okay.
I'm just not sure yet how it's going to come out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you still have like 5 more months to be able
Yeah,
to
I
see
still have,
what's gonna
yeah.
work, the numbers, how the market
Hmm.
is doing on
Yeah,
Airbnb
yeah,
at the moment, and all of that.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
Diego, one point I want to make while we were talking about the finances, when I was closing with a new construction loan, so I brought zero money to the closing table when I was doing the owner new construction loan. So that's also something that blew my mind. I've never came to the closing table with zero out of pocket. So actually, bank paid me $113,000. They've asked me whether I wanted money up front, and that was not the draw that they gave me. That was just because the deal was too good to be true. I did not even question why they would do that, but
Wow.
I was ready to come up with like $200,000 as a down payment for this, but it turned out that the bank loved it and they were psyched to get started. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Do a lot of legwork, do a lot of research, talk to the banks, present yourself. Like, I'm an investor, I did a lot of deals, so I was able to kind of like, I told the bank, I want to be the project manager. I want to manage finances. I'm not letting GC handle that part. I want to learn, I want to manage, and I have experience, and bank allowed me to do that as well. So
That's
just kind of
awesome.
talking about that part.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So now, from that perspective, this was your first, as you're saying, that you wanted to learn all about this.
yes.
What fears, if any, came to mind as you're seeing this opportunity? Like, were you stuck? Like, what fears came to mind, or doubts, as you're going through this, as you're starting this project?
Oh my God, there was a lot of doubts. Like, when I started my real estate journey, everyone was saying, "Why are you buying such ugly homes? What are you doing?" Like, my family did not understand my strategy at all. Everyone was just looking, she's crazy. just like I always like tried new things, and I was just like interested to learn and kind of work with the puzzle and kind of put it together. It was a lot of fears. It was just like psychologically, it was just a lot. How do you pull $2 million? Like, how do you go from doing loans that are like 200, 300, 400,000 up to 2 million? Like, how do you, like, I had a lot in my head that I had to work with. Like, what's going to happen to me if I'm going to take this money out? What, am I going to die tomorrow? Am I going to lose something? So it was just, I was working with myself and kind of trying to let go. This is just a number and nothing else. It's another project. But yes, it was a challenge in just coming, like going over and over, like $2 million. This is a lot of money. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? And I pulled the trigger. I froze for a bit. I did freeze for a bit, but then I was like, I'm at the end. I need to start it.
Yeah, yeah. And
And,
you need to say
and my
yes to do it.
Yes, and I said, yeah, and my husband kind of is on board. He knows he cannot like really tell me not to do something because I'm so passionate about it.
Hmm.
And lots of times money is not the driver for me. It's just like if you see the project and you know it makes sense and you're going to make money, right? Money is one of the factors, but you also know that you're going to create something cool and you're going to learn so many new things. You're going to meet new friends, and it just like you work on it, it just becomes like natural.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Mm.
And so that was your last project, or it is your continuing project.
My
Yeah.
current project. Yes, that's
Yes.
true.
But how many years have you been doing this? When did you get started? And what strategies have you done throughout those years
Yeah,
as you build
yeah.
your portfolio?
So I started back in 2018. That's when I started to do like a lot of research. I stumbled upon Bigger Pockets podcast. I started to listen. I fell in love with it. I got some books. I loved Scott Trench, Brandon Turner, all of them. So it was just like, I think I took like a year to just read and educate myself. But then also my business that I had, home healthcare business, also pushed me into real estate because in a home health care, when you're providing services to elderly, at some point they move into assisted living, or unfortunately they pass away at some point, and the family has a estate to sell. And because we already like created a relationship with like a son and a daughter, they would be reaching out to the office and asking, do you know any local real estate agents? We need to unclutter mom's home and we need to sell it. So I would be like kind of like the point of contact between the agents and the families. And then I
Mhm.
realized, oh my gosh, why am I not buying those properties from my clients? But my goal was to buy multifamilies only. I wasn't looking for single families, and majority of those people lived in the single families. But my first property, I was able to buy it from my client. So
Mm.
yeah,
Okay. So you
so
bought it for your client, and what did they like? What was
the
that process?
strategy, yeah.
Yes. And the
So
business plan for this.
yeah, yeah. So I wanted to do the burst strategy. That's what got me excited. And we bought a three-family home. We didn't do tons of renovations. We did some. That kind of got us to start thinking about it, like how do we do this? How do we do that? How do we pull permits? We did some things that we weren't supposed to. We got the fine. So it was a learning curve.
Oh man.
And yeah, yeah, yeah. And my husband always was involved in those projects. I would not be able to do it all by myself without him. I'm kind of like visionary. I see where I'm going, but I also need help.
Yes.
um, and so we bought it, I think, for 289,000. We put about 60,000 in it. And I bought it actually as a portfolio loan. I bought it 25% down. I did not take advantage of conventional financing. I was very skeptical about people suing you, and I really thought that I should do a portfolio loan. But at that time, that was my strategy. And so we bought that, we did the renovations, and about a year from then, I was able to refinance, and I think we pulled like about $90,000 out. The appreciation was there, the market was growing, and that's when there was a aha moment. I'm like, I got my money for the renovations, but I got also my some of my down payment money back. And that property I was able to refinance, I believe, like three times now. And I have zero money tied in that property. So basically, this is a free house, my first home that I bought. It's a free home with zero money tied up, and it brings in about $800 cash flow.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, wow. And so, and all of this, just so that people know, all of these properties are in the same locate, like are in the same
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
right?
I purchased my multifamilies, like three family, six family, two family, another three family that I have in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, where that's where kind of like good rental market is. It's not too far from my home. I can manage it myself. And I kind of like to be not a long distance investor. I think I realized I like to be hands on. I like to see what's happening and be involved at some point.
Yes, yes. And then with all of this, you mentioned earlier that you are more of like the visionary and everything, right? Uh,
Hmm.
how how do you find the resources to help you throughout this whole journey? Because that's a lot of things that for some people like to be like very hands on, right? But as a visionary, you also have all of these ideas and you need to leverage the right people, the right connections. Like you were saying, the GC, the lender, the architect, all of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, how did you manage to find and build all of these relationships locally in your area?
So your network is your net worth, and I was gonna say that it's very important to. It's very lonely to be alone, and it was for me very lonely. So I had to kind of branch out and find my people. And the way I did it by attending masterminds, and it was one of yours actually, Diego, that I've joined with Felipe at that time, and also Steve Rosenberg's mastermind. So I did like a couple of them, and that's where I found like-minded people that I listened to their stories that provided me some input to my questions, to my concerns, to my problems, and it was just like you have to build, like if you can't find it like around you, you have to go out and find it somewhere else. And that's what I did, because a lot of my friends, they're not real estate investors. They don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm also going an extra mile to do something else. I am not satisfied with just a regular job. I want to, I don't know. I just follow myself and my passion. I don't go after money a lot of times. I go after curiosity about things, about projects and things that I can bring into this world, and make old homes, give them a second chance, not necessarily always knock them down. Like I find this within myself. I actually attend also like another women's mastermind where we talk about like emotional, like physical health. I exercise three times a week with my personal trainer. So like I do a lot of work with myself, and that's the hardest part. Actually, I find is the work that you do with yourself is the hardest work that can be
Hmm.
done.
Yeah, yeah. And that can be both internal and external, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the mental, the mindset, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
And so you joined a couple of masterminds in the past and everything, including like Steve Rosenberg. He's an amazing mindset
Hmm.
coach too. And my gosh, and then and now you've also been a member of FI Investors. How has the mastermind, for example, like through the calls, through the accountability and everything, how has that helped you?
It, gave me a good overview of all the people. We all have different strategy, we all have different needs, and we all have different comfort zones as well. It just provides me a push to go to the next level. When you see someone, they're like, they may not be doing what I'm doing, but you're like, oh my gosh, this person is amazing. They're really like putting the strategy together. They're pulling the trigger. They're going after it. It just gives you um, a good energy about yourself that you can do this. Like you can also do what you want to do. You don't have to follow someone else, but you can create your own pathway. So everything is possible. It's kind of like gives me that feeling that, you don't have to do what others doing. You can do whatever you want to do. But it's just like a circle of people that surrounds you with a good energy and being very helpful to each other. Like Sebastian been part of your mastermind for a while, and we're both in Boston, and he pulled me into like one of the local like circles, and he introduced me like to his manager of the bank that also like provided me some contacts for the commercial lending and stuff. So it's just like, you create relationships and you provide value to people, and believe me, someday they will provide value to you. So it's all about finding finding the right people that will align with what you want to do in your life.
Yeah. And that is one of those things that you want to surround yourself with people that celebrate you, that are celebrating your wins, and that are supporting you every step of the way. And I know that you've told me that you're also out there, right? Like inspiring people, but one of your goals is
I love that.
inspiring women to show them that they can also be in real estate and fulfill their dreams, build passive income, financial freedom, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it just feels like there is more man-dominated industry, and especially like real estate is one thing, new developments is like a different animal. Like there's definitely less women than men. And yes, I started my blog just to show people, not to kind of show it off, but actually to maybe inspire someone. Like you can do this too. I'm not different. I'm an immigrant. I came here from Russia many years ago, and I grew up in a very simple household. My dad raised me and my sister, and I went to high school. I did the same things that people did. I went to college, and I just started to create my pathway. And actually, the most important thing is to enjoy it, not to follow the money, but to enjoy your passion, the true passion.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so how can people find you? Find out about your blog? What's the link? What's your Instagram? All of that.
Yeah, sure. It's very simple. It's Dina.Onur, Onur, and I'm on Instagram. I am available if you guys have any questions. Would love to help people and share my story with you guys.
Yes. And what is the link of the blog?
That's the
URL?
Instagram.
Oh, okay, perfect.
It's just Dina.Onur on Instagram. Yeah, you can join me there, and you can ask questions. I'd be happy to help, and especially if you're a woman.
Yes, because it's really amazing the transition that you've gone through from the home services, right? The home health services to then investor and now developer, and seeing all the projects that you're doing. And I remember that you connected through the FI Investors Mastermind. We had one, you told me, hey, Diego, can you bring a developer? And
yes, and you did. Was it Jason? Not Jason. Jason?
No, it was Dustin Baldwin from Florida.
Yes. I've spoken to him.
Yes, and he's building homes in St. Pete, and he came and he gave a lot of value, and then you told me, hey,
so much detail.
Can I reach out?
So helpful. Yeah, that was so helpful to me, actually.
Yes, and Dustin, he's one of those guys that always provides value. He's always willing to answer questions, and it's cool because when the speakers that come to the mastermind, right? Like when people go out there and if they ask questions and they take action, that is what actually fulfills them more than just like spending time on the phone. Is like seeing results, right? And you're one of those testimonies that, hey, being part of a community, then listening and taking actions from what the speakers, the connections and everything, and then seeing the results now. So that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. I'm very thankful to find, I can't even remember how I found you guys. But I just was like, oh my gosh, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. Right now, actually, I'm considering another deal. I'm in the midst of negotiation with the seller. He's an older guy, but we've been back and forth for like a month now. To buy an old multifamily home down on the Cape Cod in Boston and build 12 condos, and some of them are going to be affordable housing. So maybe that would be my next project. I'm still not sure, but that one gets me even more excited. I'm like, not only I can build 2 condos, now I can build 12.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And you'll continue to grow from there.
Yeah.
So Dina, thank you so much for sharing your story. This is definitely inspiring, and I can't wait to see the people that are going to reach out to you so that you can, so if they want to continue to learn about developing, build to rent as a strategy, build to live, whatever it is, right? So that they can continue working on their path to financial freedom. So
thank you so much, Diego. Thank you for all you do for everyone. Actually, I say thank you from all of us to you.
Thank you.
You are my inspiration as well.
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. All right. We'll do.
Thank you for listening to the FI Investors Podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And share this with a fellow real estate investor who you think would find value in what we do. Until next time.